Ago, when you come, Madam Kakra, and when you come in when Siam Kakra, men Cassati. Damper Maka there. Bakan Babu Kakra and Yamakan from Fancy. At long last, the battle has ended. And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. And yet again, I want to take the opportunity to thank the chiefs and people of this country, the youth, the farmers, the women, who have so nobly fought and won this battle. Also, I want to thank the valiant
Africa Media 24/7
who have so cooperated with me in this mighty task of freeing our country from foreign rule and imperialism. And as I pointed out at our party conference at Sorbonne, I made it quite clear that from now on today, we must change our attitudes, our minds. We must realize that from now on, we are no more a colonial, but a free and independent people. But also, as I pointed out, that also entails hard work. I am depending upon the millions of the country, the chiefs and people, to help me to reshape the destiny of this country. We are prepared to build it up and make it a nation that will be respected by every other nation in the world. We know we are going to have difficult beginnings, but again, I'm relying upon your support. I'm relying upon your hard work. Seeing you in these thousands, it doesn't matter how far my eye goes, I can see that you are here in your millions. And my last warning to you is that you also stand firm behind us so that we can prove to the world that when the African is given a chance, he can show to the world that he's somebody.
The best online radio in Dallas-Fort Worth. Africa Media 24/7.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. We are going to demonstrate to the world, to the other nations, young as we are, that we are prepared to lay our own foundation. As I said in the assembly just minutes ago, I made a point that we are going to say that we create our own African personality and identity. It's the only way we can show the world that we are ready for our own battle. That today, may I call upon you all that at this great day, let us all remember that nothing in the world can be done unless it has the purpose and support of God. We have done the battle, and we again rededicate ourselves not only in the struggle to emancipate other territories in Africa. Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with total liberation of the African continent. Let us now, fellow Ghanaians, let us now ask for God's blessing. And for only 2 seconds, in your thousands and millions, I want to ask you to pause only for 1 minute and give thanks to Almighty God for having led us through obstacles, difficulties, imprisonment, hardship, and suffering to have brought us to the end of our trouble today.
Africa Media 24/7.
Ghana is free forever.
Politics for power, pretty me the pay a BCCA. That's what Poman Koso. Memo, boy, Funkwa. Gana Mamu, Mapanina. Sorry, I could take a see the prof Wakasia. Mamboning in unemployment. Employees is work the answer. Sonya democracy. Yeah, Memo, democracy. Oja Irish Ghana boy. Send it so Dominic Mora. Saluta. Democracy, Amamoya, I'm progressing also. Democracy, Amamoya, brothers in a frustration. Now I will some accommodation I had to free for young Kosia. State farms and human echo. Oliga from big factories. Some canneries.
Welcome to Hit Point on Africa Media 247. Time check is 2:11 p.m. here in DFW, and this is Sunday afternoon, the month of November 14th, 2021. And today we are privileged to have in our mix Dr. Michael Echampong, who will be helping us in our discussion today. So let me remind you that we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube as well. So you can join us by sending in your comments, your suggestions, and all the questions that you have. And Doctor is ready to answer all the questions for you. And this is the first time we are having Doctor on our show, and we are most grateful to Doctor. Today we will be asking some questions. And what are we looking at? We are looking at the link between academic research and development aspiration in Ghana and Africa. What has the academia been doing in helping us shape the kind of developmental shortfalls that we have? Our policymakers collaborating with the academia in dealing with some of these issues. We ask questions. What should the academia do to help solve African development challenges? We ask questions. what is the collaboration between government and the academia? We also ask questions. Does research reflect the aspirations and the goals of the nation? So we also ask questions. What can we do as a nation in terms of developing a national policy development agenda? So today we are privileged to have Dr. Michael, a champion in our midst. Doctor, welcome to Headpoint on Africa Media 247.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. As a way of introduction, but I'm not going to do all. Doctor is going to elaborate more of it. Dr. Michael Echampong is a PhD holder in Geography and Environmental Science and Policy from the University of South Florida here in the United States. He has previously served as an assistant professor at the Suffolk University and a visiting assistant professor at the Department of Geography at the Oklahoma State University. Doc is an interdisciplinary researcher with several publications across different disciplines. So you could see Doc's work cut across. So it is an interdisciplinary research that he focused on. Doc, welcome back once again.
Thank you.
Who is Dr. Michael Echampong?
Well, I think we did a good amount of the introduction already.
Right.
In a nutshell, I'm a Ghanaian. I define myself first and foremost as an African above everything. I'm from Kumasi in the Ashanti region.
Right.
I've had a lot of studies and I've spent a lot of my time, going to school and engaging in academia and research. I had a master's degree. I first went to KNUST actually, natural resources. Went to Sweden for my master's degree, and from there I came to the United States for my PhD at University of South Florida.
Right.
Where I started, teaching, doing a lot of research. From there,
right,
I went to Oklahoma State University, stayed there
right,
for 1 year, and was at Suffolk University for 2 years doing research as well as teaching. But currently, I moved outside of academia to explore the opportunities. So that's me in a nutshell.
Oh wow, that has been a long journey, Doc. So where did you start? I mean, from the primary school, because you have taught about the university side. So which side did you go from the primary school way down to the senior high school up onto the university?
Well, I'm a Kumasi boy. Yeah, I'm a Kumasi boy through and through.
Kumasi boy, where?
Atonsu.
Atonsu. Hey, Atonsu crew, you can send in your comments and Doug is ready to answer all questions for you.
Yes, I grew up in Atonsu. I went to my primary school, primary, middle school, all of that in Atonsu.
Right.
From there to Pokwari.
Oh,
Yeah,
Akateche in the house.
Yeah, I went to Pokwari school for and I graduated from Pokwari, went to KNUST.
All right.
So basically, I'm a Kumasi boy from primary through university.
Wonderful. Look, in terms of your family background, are you married? How many siblings do you have? And I mean, what is your close relations that you have here in the United States?
In the United States, I don't have a lot of family. Most of my family are in there, in Ghana.
Okay.
I have a huge circle of friends and family, but not biological family. You know what I'm saying? So
Wonderful.
In the United States, I make family everywhere I go. So I have family in Florida, where I went to school, Tampa.
Right.
I have very close relations in Dallas,
right.
Some in Houston and all. But my mom is in Ghana.
Okay.
My brothers and sister, they're also in Ghana. So,
wonderful.
Most of my family is all in Ghana.
Achefo say afi na wo join ene yenya Dr. Michael Echampong ewo hit point so on Africa Media 247 ene awie ye ne twetwe komo afa academia ene omo contribution or the link between the academia and economic development aspirations in Africa and precisely Ghana. So afi na wo join here obetimi do comment apa. We are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube as well. It's for comment, bra. Doc, question B, Doc is ready to answer all your questions. Doc, you said your research focus is an interdisciplinary one, and you've done a lot of research. Can you take us through some of the research publications that you have done and the awards that you have won?
Well, I define my research as interdisciplinary because I cut across social science, research within the social sciences, environmental sciences, health, and also my research portfolio and publications portfolio has all of that, right? Looking at African health inequities, as compared to the rest of the globe,
Right.
Trying to understand why do we have the disparities that we have. Also looking at environmental issues. My PhD dissertation was on oil and gas industry in Ghana. So that kind of gives you an idea, how disparate my research focus is. I have a lot of different interests, depending on what is happening in the day. I like to jump into it. I have a lot of research skill within my portfolio. So whatever it is the research agenda is, I'm always happy to jump on board so long as, it fits what a particular interest area for me. I'm always happy to join in. My dissertation had so many different components when I was doing it, right? It had environmental chemistry component. It had purely social science component, where I'm out there to interviewing and talking to chiefs and communities, right? What is going on with them and all of that with oil and gas, and also looking at it from purely hard sciences, biophysical aspect, right? Looking at taking samples from the field, analyzing for pollutants and all of that. So I also do a lot of spatial research, geospatial technologies using remote sensing, GIS, and all of that. So statistical research is also there. When I do health, mostly it's purely statistical work. So
wonderful.
It depends on what what is going on in the day.
Oh, what comes on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Hey, Doc is rich and he's well endowed in his area of discipline, and you don't want to miss this kind of conversation. We are live on African Media 247. This has been your regular host, Samuel KODUA, from Chikonsua, Mejo. So, Doc, in Komo, afa pertinent issues that are related to the development agenda in Ghana and Africa. And Doc, what kind of and I just say we are jumping into it. So, Doc, what do we mean by when we say we talk about academic research?
Well, simply I would say academic research is systematically making an investigation or investigating any issue, any problem, trying to find solutions, right? Or at least getting insights into a specific problem or an issue at hand, using established protocols or justifiable protocols. And I qualify with a justifiable protocol because when you go to the very hard sciences, protocols can be very, very rigid, right? But when it comes to social sciences, sometimes it can be a bit fluid because you've got to find something that is contextually appropriate, depending on where you are. So a protocol somebody developed in the United States may not fit if you went to somewhere like Atuabo, where I did my research, because the organization of the society is completely different. So you got to be able to justify the protocol that you are using.
Wonderful. Honestly, I'm a social sciences by myself, so I totally agree with what you're saying. And Doc, say you can say, what should the academia do to help solve African development challenges? Challenges when Africa, what do you ebu baby free ban ABC United States here, and the kind of researcher, into what kind of thing that academia should contribute in terms of recommending possible policy framework or policy agenda in resolving the kind of problems that we have in Africa?
Well, I like the PET. I'll try and mix it up a little bit, right? When it comes to academia, we have so many challenges as a people. And for the Yeah, I always want to say that there's always a risk of oversimplification when it comes to African problems. So I wanna throw that out there so that we are not oversimplifying things. I know that the scope of the conversation, you ever have a problem that not accommodate, or we don't have all the time to go to dig in, deeper into everything. But some of the challenges we have, they are resource related, right? Finance as well as human resources. Sometimes, if I say human resources, and not just we don't have the people. I think some of the best researchers actually come from our countries in Africa. However, there is dissipated energy, right? Right? We have people, but we are all scattered in a certain way.
Right.
So I say that we have a double jeopardy when it comes to the African issues. We have brain drain, number one. A lot of people, we get a lot of skill, and again, not to oversimplify things, there are also economic realities that actually, make some of these things happen, right? Because you want a job after school. So sometimes that will drive you to go somewhere else. So there is brain drain, obviously. We also have issues with funds, funding, facilities. I've done research where I've gone to Ghana and you don't have what you need there, at that point to be able to embark on the research that you want. But if I probably brought it to the United States, right, Medibaha is easier to get things done. So those are some of the issues that we have. And as well as, I know we're probably going to go there as the conversation progresses, but also we have a very, the relationship we have with external financiers and funds, that can be an issue sometimes, right?
Right.
When people are coming in, funding your research, they're not funding your research based on the priorities of your country. They fund research based on what they determine that should be your priorities, or looking at it from their global perspective. Right?
Okay.
I am a trained political ecologist when I talk about the environmental sciences. I tell my students that I'm not a bourgeoisie environmental science person.
Right.
If I say bourgeoisie environmental science person, someone, I look at it from recycling and things like that. No, I'm more interested in power dynamics.
Okay.
Right. When it comes to everything in life, once, people like me who are students of Emmanuel Wallerstein, as well as, David Harvey, who are interested in political economy, you will always see things through the lens of power. So I'm not gonna say.
Right.
Because when we get into a room, there are power dynamics even in the household. Right. So it's very important to understand the power dynamics and who is determining the research agenda.
Right.
Right. So those are some of the issues that I believe that are pure challenges within our sphere that we need to address.
And Doc, what kind of then I just actually say sika I mean ye research focus be or agenda be I also research in suit essence say the main fundamentals are target group na here no as a nation yenya right and that is the challenge that you work to CIA as researchers seeking as developing countries you be develop to that extent. Joe now Doc, what did you say? Problem no? What has caused that? Is it because African governments are not ready to fund the academia in terms of coming out with new innovations towards development issues in Africa?
Well,
and Yeniska.
That's why I said SAR conversations. I must say, I feel like most of the time, start the conversation to bludgeon the Africans. African governments they don't do the right thing. That we almost
always say that
limit the conversation to that. But there are geopolitical realities, economic realities. You understand?
Okay.
We are talking about finance.
Right.
And people don't have the same amount of resources at their disposal.
Right.
I know we could do better. We could always do better with ourselves, in terms of where we send our resources and all. But I think for now, I would say we don't have a coordinated system. A coordinated system in research where we are aligning research priorities of the country with our development priorities. So I'm not gonna say.
Right.
And once you don't have that, that becomes a major problem.
Right.
If you go to, I know in the past few years, it has been a hot button conversation or topic in Ghana, a debate. I remember, I think when Okudzeto was Deputy Minister of Education, he brought up an issue with the lecturers were really mad at,
Right.
which is canceling
The research.
book and research allowance and all of that. On a certain level, while I'm a professor, I teach, so I understand the professors from their perspective,
Right.
but I also really understand why Okudzeto had that suggestion, because if a country want to be serious about a developmental agenda, you can't do that without a research agency. About America, they have a lot of those. National Science Foundation, NIH, which is government pot of money.
Right.
And we're not going to give you that kind of money if what you are going to do does not fit into our priorities right now. So
yes.
If you go to Norway, they have the Norwegian Research Council or whatever they call them. Every country that is developed has that kind of system. But in our case, we don't really have that, right? And I think we need to. We need to put funds in that. And I think that was his recommendation, right? That we cancel the book and research allowance, set up a national research fund, and let people write proposals, right? He writes a proposal. If it is good, it fits our agenda, you give him the money to go do it. There is nothing wrong with having the book and research allowance too, because new beyond a some groundbreaking research. So people need that kind of money to also go out there and do like small community-based research. But if you have limited resources like us, and you have to choose between them. Then I would just say have a national resource, because you have an agenda. You should have an agenda.
Right.
And you need to prioritize that. Where is our money going?
Right.
It's very important.
So I think now we're joining. You are listening to us live on Africa Media 247. This is Hit Point, and I was so wutie. And Dr. Mike Champon and Komo na Edward Osebo is watching us live, and as also na Royal King. Adam Hima Juba is also watching us live. It's not the four. Namika will say, "Bet me do comment about question be audio or biano. Send your questions, and Doctor is ready to answer all the questions." Doc, they're not okay. Actually, my dream CBB so say, Mr. TPAG Kakrabi wo Switzerland. Na the ni say your department no your will be a friend of startup grant. So the startup is about $20,000. So they give you for you to develop your proposal to a certain level where you apply for what we call the Swiss National Foundation. And a Swiss agenda. So they look into the proposal with your supervisor and how those research is going to have an impact on the people. So basically, my area is more into looking at high rate of youth unemployment situation in Ghana. But, we can generalize it for the whole continent. It's mature, honestly, we need a startup, which is helping us say you to me develop that grant, but somewhere along the line, me free and the man me drop a program now. It's okay, mind. So I just said you could to as I just say a good thing, because then it is focusing on specific development agenda. A bema or minor a chumpon. Now, I didn't know professors money suggesting and because we are learning from the West. At least we are borrowing some aspect from the West, and this is what they have been able to do and has helped them. Can we borrow the good ones from them, and then also you bet me and also Emma yes you develop one.
So you see, those are all kind your own experience now. So this is where the conversation gets a bit difficult, right?
Right.
But for someone to develop that research proposal, how would they call Swiss National Foundation?
Right.
There's a pot of money that has already been given to the person. So that is where the lecturers will argue from. If I have nothing at all, how do I even start writing something? Or it means even defining the research agenda. Not everybody comes through the door with a lot of money. So they know can I say. May call Ghana to do part of my research. I had some money. What you say? It's kind of me, and I got it from mid school. So
Yes.
So the school itself has a pot of money that it gives students. It's a competition. Yes, will be it's a competition. You've got to justify your research, right? During that time, only a few people got it, and I was one of them. And it's kind of it still wasn't enough.
Yes.
So there's got to be some foundation. So I kind of understand, but going back, you need to understand that the reason it's also not happening is I always talk about the geopolitical realities. After independence, Africans were very determined with the mission of self-governance, and people like Nkrumah and his contemporaries, they understood the importance of research and owning our intellectual products. You know what I'm saying? To further that ambition.
Right.
However, and I think 1960 was declared the year of Africa or something like that. And we had like a 10-year development agenda, research, building what they call development universities. The development universities basically just put people out there, do the research. However, we all know history that in the 60s, there's a lot of upheaval, political. And most of these were not from Africa itself, We have people with influence and power who've decided that this direction we don't agree with. You understand?
Yes.
So for a space of 30 years, we didn't have any stability at all. So there's no stability. The entire continent is in disarray. So it's kind of really thrown us off course.
Right.
It's thrown us off course. We are still in a space of trying to really figure ourselves out. So I mentioned.
Yes.
But it's important that however late it feels, it's important to understand that there are stages in development.
Okay.
There are stages in development.
Absolutely.
And we are at one stage where, if you go to the World Economic Forum, they'll call our stage factor-driven. Where you are still depending on skill, labor, as well as your natural resources. So, but you've got to get to that point where you're going to something like the efficiency level, where you are now adding value to what you produce.
Right.
But I think we've been stuck in that phase for a while. And frankly, I think we are a bit confused as to what stage we are. So we keep touching on different things without necessarily having a plan.
Right. When they say, Doc, my name say, what is asking me? In Nkrumah time, what they Nkrumah say me by and I'm the HM. Let's say, especially KNUSC, some of my client, not there's a bus there straight out. I'm gonna call Abuja for research internship. No masaba. I think that say my name say first batch for no see Unity Hall. My name say how true it is.
I don't know much about it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes. Say some microphone been a ABC Unity Hall, and at the time, the population was less. Yet they put up that huge building because they had the foresight. And now we have not been able to add up. So it's KNUSC room back on any 10 in the room, which was previously one person could occupy about 4 rooms at Unity Hall. So it's development agenda now. We don't know where we are now, Doc. So what is now as we speak? What is the collaboration between government and the academia now in Africa?
You see, to answer that question, I'll go back to one point I made, right?
Right.
Talking about people who fund our research. If we go to Ghana and other African countries, there are very good research going on. The problem although becomes, whose priority are we following for that kind of research? Because I can bet you you can go look that if you took top 10 research, projects going on in Ghana, they're all probably being funded by IMF, World Bank, UNDP, something.
Yes.
What them organizing.
Yes.
They're not giving you money.
Right.
just for the sake of it, and just the fact that they love you.
Yes,
there
yes,
is an agenda everywhere.
Yes.
So I think there needs to be that clear understanding. So when you see that collaboration between government and academia, most of the time the funding has come from outside, right? And one of the risky things that I think, one of the risky areas that I feel like we've been stuck for a while is allowing our development agenda to be set by others. So I don't know, can I say?
Yes.
If you go to the 1980s, right, World Bank literally changed our investment in education. Where should our money go? Well, maybe their money, you know, communities can ever, right? So they have a lot of
structural adjustment programs.
Exactly. What can I say? In the 1980s, they did a research called return on investment in education in Africa. And they determined that we didn't need to spend our money, or Africa didn't need to spend its resources on higher education.
Wow.
You understand? We had to actually spend our monies on lower level education, which is not a bad thing. But if you go to countries like China and India, they actually pursued expansion of education on the lower level simultaneously with higher education.
Right.
Because higher education is the level where you're going to equip people with that intellectual capacity to go out there, bring out innovations and all of that.
Right.
So in the space of about 25 years, in the 1980s all the way to mid-2000s,
yes,
Africa had reduced per capita expenditure on a tertiary student by more than 80%.
Right.
You understand? Right. So look at the number of people that we've really, allowed to go blunt. You understand? Instead of shopping to really aid our development agenda.
Right.
Now, this is an external agency. You understand? That is setting a development agenda, defining your policies for you. Because of research that they sponsored and did. He says, well, this is what you're supposed to do. And we pick it up and we run with it. Then 25 years down the line, they come back and tell us, oh, no, we made a mistake.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Oh, no, we made a mistake. So now invest in tertiary education. By this time, he set you back 25 years.
Yes.
And I think over time, we've come to, realize how important, tertiary education is. With them to go out there and do research and support any technological revolution that you'd be interested in doing. Right. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. Okay. So I think those are some of the issues that have happened in the past.
Yeah. So that and like I said, there's a disconnect between the kind of research agenda that is set up by these donor agencies and the kind of policies that are addressing the actual needs of the people on the ground, like the vulnerables, and targeting groups, like targeting the actual sector of the economy, vulnerable population, young people, high rate of unemployment, and the rest. So there's that kind of disconnect between that. Right?
I really believe so. I think we've been disconnected for a long time.
Okay.
I don't blame academics. They're also professional. They need to work.
Okay.
So right. Maybe if I'm going to apply for a grant where the money is, that's where I go.
Okay.
Because I need the money to go do my research.
Right.
And if you're in academia, you realize that research is not just there for the fact that we love to do research, but it's not just for that purpose. We also need to keep our jobs.
Yes.
Because at the end of 6 years, I'm the one who's going for tenure evaluation. If you don't have any publications, you probably get shown the door. Right. And people need to keep their jobs, and if there's a donor agency that can give me the money, I go and I will take it.
Right.
Right. I wouldn't say that they necessarily dictate.
Right.
When they give somebody money. But the fact is, when you are going to apply, you know exactly what is acceptable within, for a certain donor.
Like I said, Doc, research, there's a certain bias in it in terms of facing the reality. Some degree.
There's always that. Just look at COVID season, right?
Right.
Hey, you can see the disparate forms of information that will come out. Somebody say, I did this research, I found it, and a good number of times you find that somebody's research is really motivated by some political leaning, right? where he leans politically is really shaping how they are putting out their results.
Right.
And remember that in research, we have something we call framing, right? Positive framing and negative framing.
Right.
I can give you the same numbers, and depending on how I feel about the subject, I can present it to you for you to think is so bad.
Right.
In the same way, I can also give it to you in words, I'll deliver it in such a way that makes you think, oh, it's not that bad. You understand? So it's very important to understand where I have been a researcher, I've been a reviewer for a lot of research. Yeah, exactly. I've been out there, I have done reviews for journals.
Right.
And I have taken
Doc Media will be reviewing.
Well, I do it a lot for colleagues as well. But there is a professional task on you if you're an academic, right? To also engage in peer review. Where people send a journal will reach out to you and tell you, hey, we have this paper, review it for us. And I literally went out there and told somebody, I am not passing this. If you're going to keep this statement in this paper, just because of the fact that Africans are very intelligent, but the fact that we are also very afraid to assert our intellect. I feel like there is this intellectual subjugation that goes on around the world, where we almost go into a room thinking that somebody has to tell us what to think. Not because we are not capable, but I think there is this deep-seated inferiority complex. Sometimes I think it's sessing.
Oh, Doc, as someone who came and I don't know him Ajuba, a question was say, how can we stop allowing other nationals to set our agenda for us? Please, Doc.
You see, it's about clearly understanding where we are in our development stage. I always say this, and I'm going to throw it out there. It's probably going to be a bit controversial for people. It's okay. Where we found oil in Ghana.
Right.
I was still at KNUST then. And one of the things, even at that time, I said is we shouldn't touch it. And that was my very strong opinion. It hasn't changed over the past 14 years or so. I don't touch this oil. The reason, for me, I think you shouldn't touch it. But again, due to political realities, people will not let that oil stay.
Right.
Because I believe that if you found oil and you think this is the thing that we're going to stand on to build as a country, don't give it to someone to come in. Even if they did the reconnaissance and they have some percentages and all of that, give it to them. But now you know it is there. Stop exploring the rest. You understand? This is what you came for, you got it.
Okay.
Now we know it is there. Send your army of researchers, of intellectuals to go out there, study this field, understand how it works.
Right.
Bring them back and own it.
Okay.
Okay. Own it. You have to understand where you are in your stage.
Okay.
You see, I have friends, I have personal experience where people go to Ghana with a master's degree. I saw a person of Kochadi or probably KNUST or somewhere else. And they'll say you need to have a PhD.
Yeah, they be David.
Okay.
Doc, yeah, they be me.
Okay.
We're trying to 2 MPhil degrees.
Okay. I think it doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
Because truly, if you go to any university here, majority of courses that are not taught by the professors.
Right.
A good number of courses are taught by TAs who are also students, like master's degree. Because what is an undergraduate who came to the first year going to learn that I can teach them if I had a master's degree in that field?
Yes.
So
yes.
So they're saying that, oh, you have to have a PhD. Are you sponsoring that PhD? You are not sponsoring me. What am I not gonna say?
Right.
I literally tell people, if you don't have funding, I don't know if I would advise you go pay a lot of money from out of pocket to go get a PhD.
Right.
What am I not gonna say?
Right.
There has to be some funding. Now we have collaborations with different universities, all these MOUs signed and all of that. Take these young people into the system, use the opportunities that you have establishing these connections with other universities around the world, have the facilities. Send them to go get a PhD and bring them back.
Right.
Right. You understand? But we kind of don't do that. And like I say, we need to understand that researchers, we should treat them as very valued commodities for the country. Assets. You know what I'm saying? Like they are commodities, they are assets for you. You need to treat them as such. And you need to send them out there. The one thing that you said when they came in thing during Nkrumah time, there was an ideological framework that was also really well grounded in Africa. We understood where we were going.
Right.
You understand? At that time,
And now
was
it's
like,
gone.
Exactly. That time was like a spirit. Everybody was filled with it. Like, we are self-determined. We are going to self-govern. You understand? So
Yes.
there was a clear ambition in the heart of every African somewhere. You know, but now that is not there. We actually take a lot of pride in dissociating ourselves from our problems. You know, which is a huge problem.
All right. Dr. Paul Amwatin is also watching us live from Australia. And Doc, good morning to you. And Dr. Eric Gazy also is watching us also from Australia. Kofi Egua is watching us from UK. And they are saying good job and nice discussion. Doc, where do you mean from di kakra emfam kakra na ehome na ye besaba so. Now, I would say Jumadie is being sponsored by Noah 32 Signature Apparel. Noah 32 Signature Apparel, here posters and now printing materials, beer, na t-shirt printing, and it's a cap or caps now, all design and now plastic bags, be a person be logos, posters, any kind of design, be a person be contact Noah 32 Signature Apparel. Number 32 Signature Apparel is located at South Central Junction. I'm moving ARS Church in the pair. Now, over from one. Wait me, I reach you on this number plus 233 244 617307. And now, say you can also reach them on plus 233 20102 3790. Number 32 Signature Apparel. Even so, we have which they had now per se uncoffee and now no maybe ya print a guhama. And I say, would you my dear Yamawa? Just contact Noah 32 Signature Apparel. Number Yamao. Fe. They are also on Instagram. You can reach out to them on Noah 32_signature. And I say Facebook on Noah 32 Signature Apparel. And over to me, I reach you on via email on hello@noah32.com and Gmail nanakwamebonsu@gmail.com. For all your printing and everything, contact Noah 32 Signature Apparel. Samsung African Media 247. Yeah, ye dwumadie so. And baby bia wo afanamu wa ha United States ha bia wo hia bibi efa wedding reception ho. And I say birthday parties, and I say DJing, anniversary parties, grand openings, be a person, holiday parties, be all types of events. African Media 247 will be there to do it for you. You baby be amount pepe amana fe amount. Said the open pepe. And you know, videotaping services, video, you better capture amount, wedding photographies. You were nice photographers, or Hanma. Omo professionals ankasa ye beba abeya amount MCs nso de hey na just say what the you can't beat us from that ye beba bibia amount obetimi afrey on this line 682-347-2915 and now so say 972-854-4175 and now so say 469-769-2306. African Media 247. Yani Sajuma Edian so. You can reach us and then we'll come and deliver for you. Now Mekai will say about 252 and to be the Jumadian bebe and don't be a spectator, just bring your comments and bring all the questions that you have and we will answer it for you. And then every say I feel no journey ya Dr. Michael Champon and a chicken como Michael Dr. what could done research muye and research also cut it across baby was I akatechi and sound so nachu na doc na can you na how be now
Cut.
Hey. Fellows.
Charge.
Look, yɛde dwumadie yi ɛbɛba awie challenges are your war as the continent no any the kind of research any recommendations individuals are any sponsored by these donor agencies now should these policymakers take it serious and then make use of these recommendations research because basically research is identifying a problem and then making recommendations to solving them. Do they have to have the political will in implementing some of these recommendations?
We should. It's very important. In any country, research recommendations, research is very variable. It depends on what area we are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Social issues, hard sciences, technological, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If we're talking about social issues, we need to have context-appropriate research that gives us insight into things that we normally may not have thought about, if it wasn't for specific research.
Right.
So the government needs that, and it needs to understand that it is in its own favor. You understand? That it adopts and understands, really collaborate and cooperate with these researchers. I also think the onus is also fall on us, especially those of us who are outside. You know what I'm saying? To go to help with a level of humility with it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I feel like we having access to a lot of resources can be almost diminishing of the capabilities of people back home. You understand? We need to collaborate.
Right.
We need to work with them. Some of us have access to resources that they don't.
Right.
So it's important that we tap into their expertise and understanding of local dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea. Because I remember one specific research came to me to review. And I saw the authors, and one of them was an African. He was the lead author, and I assume he's a PhD student.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guess, or a PhD candidate. And the rest were Westerners. And there was one line in the paper I took back and I said, change this line. It's unacceptable to me.
Right.
An organization. As an African who understands the African context, the fact that a paper you took and cited had a specific kind of information doesn't mean that it is true or it holds true for Africa.
Right.
Now, just to give a bit more specific, this particular statement had to do because it was I was looking at the weight of babies, just to put it in a very layman's term, the weight of babies, after birth, and trying to link that to the weight of their mothers. Looking at things like malnutrition on the side of the woman as well, who is bearing the baby. To understand if a woman has no access to money and resources, food and all of that, does that affect the baby? Now in this paper, one of the things the person mentioned was that one of the issues that they may encounter with taking the weight of the woman is that they may misreport their weight, which is true. They may misreport their weight because of the fact that whatever paper you were reading is a Western paper. You should understand that weight is seen quite differently in Ghana vis-a-vis the Western world.
Right.
For us, we do not really think weight, someone growing a bit bigger, is negative. You understand?
Yes.
But in the context, it's almost like, oh my God, I put on weight.
Right.
It's almost like an eyesore for them, right? So this person was saying women may be underreporting in Africa. I'm like, that is not true. Because we don't necessarily see that as wrong or there's a problem if you put on weight. Like no woman, it's maybe today that we are having that a bit.
Yes.
you know, with the influence of social media and all, but it's not something that we have dealt with where people think, honestly, you're free Ghana, right?
Yes,
yes, you understand.
Yes, so it's a sign of good living.
Exactly. So for us, it's not negative. So the fact that you are adopting something like that and just implanting in your paper that has to do with Africa is contextually enough. It's not true.
Right.
So I was like, no, even though you may have read it from their paper, I don't think it actually fits. So I think just understanding local dynamics, understanding, because if you took someone from the West and brought him there, he'll be using that perspective to define your agenda and setting a policy for you, which is not necessarily a true case for Africa. So that's just like a very not critical example of me, something that came to me thinking about when you talk about local dynamics, understanding context, appropriate, solutions. It's very important to understand that.
Kofi Buama is also a lawyer. Kofi Buama is watching us live from Ghana. And Kofi Esi, I see Kofi is also watching us live from Germany. I say they are loving the discussion. And I can't see Mammy. Now, did you make dinner? Doc, you share Africa about 30% of the world's resources comes from Africa. Yet this is the continent that we describe as very poor, where you go to some interior, you become amazed about some of the things that are going on, even where these resources are being exploited. I didn't know Amanabasa, no.
Well, that is the area of research that I'm particularly focused on. That's why I did oil and gas. Right? Power. Power dynamics is important. Once you start understanding how power influences positions in life, I think a lot of things start making sense to you. At least for someone who's interested in power relations, a lot of things make sense to you because you go to the village where there is oil, where there is gold, the people don't have any power. The power is situated somewhere in Accra.
From the top.
Yes, it's somewhere in Accra. Now Accra doesn't have as much power. The power is actually sitting somewhere in the World Bank.
Right.
So there's a hierarchy
that
is happening. That is determining who extracts what. You understand? And who gets what benefit from a resource. And, in my field of study, we call it the winners and losers scenario. There's somebody who's losing and there's somebody who's winning.
Yes.
You understand? So you understand. I think, we are almost run out of time, but I'll say that there's a winner and losers case scenario that is out there that needs to be understood.
Right.
And that is what causes there is that hierarchy of power that actually trickles down all the way to the bottom. So that imagine because so somebody in Accra is a politician. He also needs money to run for the next election. There's someone from the United States, and remember that we also have a lot of corporations working in Africa who also have the backing of powerful governments from outside. You understand? Right. Political college is something we call the place-based actors and non-place-based actors.
Right.
A place-based actor, just to use an example, Twitter, Facebook, they are place-based actors when in the United States. In Africa, Facebook is a non-place-based actor. They think about what happens to America. Because if America goes down, Facebook is going to go down.
Right.
What am I going to say? You sit on top of America. But Ghana can go down and Facebook will leave tomorrow and not care. What am I going to say? So when it comes to consequences, right? A corporation that is working, Shell working in Nigeria, they don't care about Nigeria. What they care about is their money.
Right.
So we can deteriorate everything. We can make sure that everything is gone so long as we got our profit. And then they will just dismantle our installations and move.
Right.
So what am I going to say? So I think we have a long history of, slavery, colonialism, and neocolonialism after independence. So those are real.
It's real, yes. And in the
exactly. Yes. So it's very. I know we're out of time and there's enough room to really go into this, but I think we have a lot of factors, that actually put us in that situation.
Right.
But I think that at the end of the day, we've got to set up ourselves as well and own our continent. I think that's something we need to really be praised about.
Wonderful. Other for now, I would say, because you do African Media 247. So humano. So ye pa. And say if you hit point is what, not just say breakthrough hour no any day bro. Breakthrough hour no that Emmanuel Boating and a breakthrough hour and bro and net no dear. Hey, other for anointing is soon. Eddie breakthrough hour no be at exactly 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And internet and you are feeding in free hand because I'm feeding and African Media 247 that Emmanuel Boating at the breakthrough hour no ebe brew. Sounds so na if we add a super pepe na yemaini and dachi adom hima joba edi yemaini and dachi jumadi ebe brew at exactly 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Because amu afidi no and African Media 247. Doctor, yedi jumadi no abe we na ansa ni de be baby no. what is the way forward for Africans? And all that we have talked about, what is your recommendations?
I think there needs to be very clear definition of what our development priorities are. You can't leave any aspect of your country to rot away, which is true. But every point in your life has its priorities.
Right.
You know, there's some things that you do just to sustain a certain part, and you focus on clear objectives. Like, okay, in the next 10 years,
Right.
our priority is make sure we have expertise that controls our national resources.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes.
if you have that, you know the people that you're investing in are going out there for a specific agenda. You know?
Right.
I feel like our process has been so haphazard. You know, like we are a bit all over the place. We have a lot of expertise, but we are not able to harness that expertise because we don't have a clear direction.
Right.
So there has to be direction. And we also have, you know, huge issues where this goes tangential, but Africa as a continent, how we are organized, and that is difficult, right? Because now we get this parochial state-owned interests, I call them, because a very small chunk of it, Ivory Coast, Ghana, we all have our own small interests here and there.
Right.
So what Ghana rejects, Ivory Coast will take. What Ivory Coast rejects, Ghana will take.
Yes.
You understand? Right?
No, that is that clear one go be na yenyina so.
Well,
Na
you know,
yentimi enkoyenim.
I think that was the mission from independence.
Right.
But again, it goes back to geopolitics, right?
Mhm.
Who has power?
Yes.
You know, and I think that has really thrown a lot of things, of course. But I really think that we need to clearly define. Once we define what our agenda is, we will know where to invest. Because we have very little resources, and we can't afford to just throw it out without understanding the clear impact that we are trying to get from those resources.
Right.
We have limited resources if we are sending people out there. Just a few days ago, I was watching Napo, right? The Minister of Energy.
Yes.
Talk about, Ghana is going to open up a bidding process or whatever it is for the first nuclear power plant. This is something I don't agree with. Well, you've sat down, you've done research, you've determined that, well, nuclear power is something we need. If it does the right thing, that's a whole different conversation. But if that's what you want, I don't believe you have to open that to external people to come and bid for it.
Right.
Send your people out there to study and come back. We don't have to do everything today.
Right.
I think we feel like everything has to happen today. Like, send people for the next 10 years to go study on this. So they come and we will own it. You can't give the blueprint to your development to everybody that is on.
Right.
Because the world is not, we are not all with the same ambition and priorities, as well as your agenda. It may run contrary to some of these funding agencies.
Right.
And people coming from outside of your country.
Right.
So I think we need to be clear what we want and set an agenda for it. Our political race, though, we need to be understood. Political race both locally and internationally.
Right.
But I think with or without those races, we still need to set our own agenda.
Right. Mekai really dem de kan ho kakra development agenda like where China, Brazil and the rest started. You know, they had this ISI policy, import substitution industrialization. And you know what they did was that they sent their people out there. They asked you to come in, give you a target that at this number of years we want you to train our people, and then say bye bye to you, and have people take over. And that has helped China as it is now. That's where they are now. It's also Africa. Yansu yesua bibi efa ho na yetimi di ekoyenim. Te se de me call Ghana. Me call na me call KNUS se me kuta film you know. And me transcriptor my me coursework na wie no. Eni o dem mfa me teaching assistant. Na me course face kra na I'll just go meet, do a presentation and come back. Say the way have the baby. Omo ahwe manim kra. Omo say listen we and sansana. My back and the crowns and assurance. It's you know, Doc, yada was say and every when you bread now near between Como our hit point so on African Media 247. You say, and anytime be a between and Safra will be a win your bread now near.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Therefore, And then every year, Dr. Michael Champon and a train come the link between academic research and development aspiration in Ghana and Africa. And you know, you did na ababy sir. Koswa Mwafidino and the African Media 247. Jumadiano, you Eda Imano Watting Eba, Sanso Emma, I don't know Juba, and so Eba, and the City, some young
The hottest sounds on your desk.
You know how to do it. I always listen to it.
Africa Media 24/7.
They know how to do it. I always listen to it.
Africa Media 24/7.
The best online radio in Dallas Fort Worth. Africa Media 247.
Oh, Papa Sante. Ah, Makachora said, said, Obey a t-shirt, the offer Kumasa Sergeant Silla. Oh, I forgot see Ukayana Mansi, Uka Sammy Fanco, 32, signature apparel, 32, Omnomia Vina.